Mm. Hello, neighbor. Thank you for joining me for tonight's Stampin' Sunday card class. I am so glad that you're here. I have two really cute cards to show you tonight. And I just wanted to really quick go over the way that you get the kit. So tonight's card class, we're going to make two cards. If you want to receive the kit in the mail, then all you need to do is place an order that's $35 or more and use the link that will be in the description. So I don't know if it's there already in the description. I tried to put it there. If not, it will be there by the time I post this on YouTube, and probably by tomorrow. I'm a little bit behind. I don't have last week's tutorial done yet, and I haven't even posted it to YouTube, but I am hoping to get that done this week by Wednesday. So this is a very busy week, and I have not been able to work as much as I normally do. Okay, I'm going to turn our camera around so we can go ahead and get started with the cards. But I did want to tell you that tonight we're going to be using this Trucking Along bundle stamp set. I just got this and it's super cute. It does also have a punch, a coordinating punch, but it's not available right now. So the cards that we're going to make tonight, you'll notice we do not use the punch for, but they're super cute anyways. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll get started. So hold on just. Okay, here we are over in our stamping space and we're ready to get started. These are the two cards that we're going to make tonight. I hope that you really love them. I think they're super cute. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the one we're going to make first. So if I set it right here off to the side, I think you can still see it in the corner if you need to look at it for reference while we are making this card. So if you're stamping along with me, you're going to want Lost Lagoon cardstock, some of the Hello Irresistible paper, some basic white cardstock, as well as some basic gray. Now tonight I also used the Pool Party ribbon, Lost Lagoon and basic gray ink, and Garden Green and a Daffodil Delight Stampin' Right marker. So those are the supplies, and I will send all those out in the tutorial that I probably will send out by Wednesday. That's my goal. By Wednesday night, you should have the tutorial if you're on my email list for last week's cards and this week's cards. Okay, so first we have a piece of Lost Lagoon, and this is 8.5 by 5.5. So you're going to take your regular 8.5 by 11 and you're just going to cut it in half at 5.5. And then we're going to put it in our trimmer at 4.25. And we're going to score that. So we're going to use the light blade and just score it. Now, the Stampin' Up! Trimmer has two blades. So there's a dark one and a light one. This one is not actually a blade. It's a scoring tool. So you always want to make sure you use the proper one. All right, and now we're just going to fold this in half. I had my monthly card class on Friday, and it was so much fun. If you've never been to a card class, you should really try to come to an in-person class. They are a lot of fun. Now, this is a piece of paper from the Hello Irresistible paper pack. And if you are looking for that in your catalog, you're not going to find it. This is only available online, and it's only while supplies last. So if you are looking for some really beautiful floral paper, this is definitely it. There is Petal Pink and Flirty Flamingo, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. They're really beautiful colors. Okay, now we're going to set this at the 4 and cut off this side here. And we're going to turn it and put it in at 5.25. And cut another little piece off. Okay, and that is going to be our first layer. Now, this piece I already cut in my die cutting machine using the basic borders die. And before we go on, I just want to show you really quick what is included in that. So this is a die that cuts all kinds of edges on your paper. This one is just a little angle. There's one that looks like clouds. There's rickrack. But these are really cool. They add a really fun edge to your paper. So that's what I used to make this piece here. And then we need a piece of basic white, and we need it to be 3. Let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna have to measure because I already forgot what I made it. Hi, Kim. Okay, it is, let's see, 2.5 by 3.5. Okay, so we're gonna cut our piece of basic white 3.5 by 2.5. Okay, I really like this stamp set. It's so cute. Okay. Now we are using the Trucking Along stamp set. So first, we're going to stamp our outline, and then we're going to stamp our inside and our little tires. So that's our first steps. And I put both of my truck pieces on an H block. I have a couple of H's. I find I use this one quite a bit. So it helps to have more than one. I just grabbed the wrong ink. We're going to use basic gray. I think I might have called it Pebbled Path earlier. So if I did, I apologize. I was wrong. Okay, and where am I gonna put this? I'm gonna put it up here. I just need to put it somewhere that my arms are not gonna get in it. Okay, and we are going to tap, tap, tap in there until our stamp is nice and shiny. Looks good. Okay, and then we're gonna stamp our little truck. right there. Okay, and I'm going to give that a quick clean. I'm just going to open up my chamois. As you can see, it's well used, well loved, this little chamois. It's so handy to have. If you don't have a chamois, you probably should get one. They're so handy. Okay, and I'm just going to sit over here and leave it open because I know I'm going to use it a lot. Okay, and then the little tires are separate. So let's stamp those next while we have our gray already open. So we're going to tap, tap, tap. I think I got my finger on there too. Okay, and then we're going to line that up with the little tires. Okay, and so that fills in the center and the edges. Okay, I'm going to move these back over here and close this up for right now. We are going to need it again, but not right this second. And now I'm going to use Lost Lagoon. Okay, so we're going to open that up. And this time we're going to fill in our little truck. So we're going to use this inside piece right here. And if you're following along with one of my tutorials and I say the inside or the outside, that's what I mean by that. So if I say the outside, we're talking about the outline. If I say the inside, I mean the part that's colored. And I did not get a tutorial out last week. If you missed the beginning, I have just been busy and overwhelmed. And so I will get that out by this Wednesday. I didn't even get my video posted to YouTube. So I'm definitely behind where I usually am. Okay, and we're going to stamp our inside. And look how cute that little truck is. I really love this little truck. Okay, there is a punch that you can get with that goes with this truck, but I don't have it yet. It's unavailable right now. Hi, Tammy. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so there we've got our truck, our tires, and we're going to work on what's next. Okay, so this is what I did to get the next part. If you look kind of close at this little special delivery here, I think you can see it if I get up real close. There's kind of a little shadow here in the stamping, and I'm gonna do that next. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but I'm gonna try to zoom in just a little bit, and maybe that will help. Sorry, I'm trying not to wiggle the camera too much. My camera holder is not very steady. Okay, so we're gonna take this little special delivery sentiment. We're gonna open up our Lost Lagoon ink, and I'm gonna tap in that Lost Lagoon, and then I stamped off one time, and I huffed on my stamp, which just means you breathe on it a little bit. And then I stamped it up here in the corner. And it's really faint. I don't know if you can even see that in the video, but it's very faint. Okay, so then we're going to clean that off. I'm going to close up that Lost Lagoon and open back up my basic gray. Okay, so now what I want to do is stamp as close as I can to what I stamped the first time. Let's see, and I'm going to try not to get my head in the way. Okay, and it's just a little bit offset. So you can just see that there's a little shadow between the two colors. Okay. I didn't want it to be really bright, but you can definitely tell if you look close, and you could stamp it without stamping off too, if you wanted your shadow to be a little brighter. So that's what I did for that. And we're just going to set that up to the side. We still need our basic gray, so I've left it open. And what we're going to do is take our basic white, and this little stamp right here is the one we're going to use next. Oh, I forgot to zoom back out. Let's see. Oh, but I think you can probably see, you can probably still see pretty good. Okay, let me know if you can't see. Tammy says she can see, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, so we're going to stamp our little flowers. We're just going to tap them in our ink. And we want to make sure when we turn it over that our stamp is all shiny. So see how that ink's all shiny on there? That's what you want. You don't want it to be too much in between the lines, but you do want all of those pieces to be shiny. Okay, I'm going to tap it one more time because I waited. I feel like I waited too long before stamping. And then we're going to stamp. I think it might, maybe I stamped it too much, but it's okay. I really like that little bit of a shadow that it gives it. Sometimes it's hard to get it in just the right spot. So if you have trouble with that and you have a stamparatus, I would suggest that you use that stamparatus. All right, I'm going to close up my ink. And now I have a Daffodil Delight Stampin' Right marker and a Garden Green. Now, I don't always use these Stampin' Right markers, but with these little tiny images like this, they really do work well. They don't bleed. And so if you want to color something that's little and you want the colors to be nice and bright, the Stampin' Right markers are good for that. And you can use the Stampin' Right markers right on your stamps. So if you want to, you can color your stamp first, huff on it a little bit, and then stamp it. And your image will be colored instead of black and white, or all the same color. Okay, there's our flowers. And then I use the Garden Green, and this one I use the small end. And when I was doing it, I tried really hard. I didn't want them to be really dark, so I kind of went with short little strokes on the leaves, because with these Stampin' Right markers, you get a lot of color really fast, and it can be kind of hard to control. But I found if you take like small little swipes, I'll show you what I mean. Like if when you're coloring, you're doing like this, like little hash marks, you're not going to get as dark a color as you would if you did like this. You see how there's kind of a big difference there? So depending on what shade you want, how dark or how light, you can do just little marks, and it does make a big difference. Okay, so there are our little flowers. And then we're going to fussy cut them. We're actually going to do quite a bit of fussy cutting tonight. So if you like fussy cutting, you are in for a treat. Okay, so we're cutting out our little flowers, and we're going to try really hard to keep our scissors pointing up like we have been taught to do. and turn our paper instead of our scissors. Now I'm holding it kind of far away, and I don't usually do that, but I'm a little afraid that my fingerprints will smudge the ink. And so I'm trying hard not to smudge it. I didn't wait very long between my stamping and my coloring. So sometimes I've found my ink will smear a little bit, and I'm trying hard not to do that. I think my hands are pretty dry, but if my fingers were sweaty at all, or if I just put lotion on, you wouldn't want to touch your stamp right after that, where you stamped, not the stamp itself, but your paper. Okay, so here's our little flowers. And we're going to turn, well, let's see. Yeah. Okay, we're going to turn those over. Sorry, I'm sure you could tell I was thinking out loud there for a second. And we're going to put a little tiny mini Stampin' Dimensional on there. And we're going to put it right up here so it looks like they're coming right out of the back of that truck. And now we're going to put our card together. Okay, so first, I want to cut this down a little bit so it's smaller. I'm going to zoom back out so you can see more of my stamping space here. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off one end. And then I'm going to turn that over and add some liquid glue. I am trying to watch your comments tonight too. All right, and then we're just going to add this right. Looks like I cut this one a little longer than my last one. That's okay. Every card is unique and special, right? Okay, so there's that. And then right here, I have some pool party. Let's see. Gross green. I don't know if that's how you say that, but ribbon. And what I'm going to do is make it just a little bit longer than the front. And I'm going to trim it right here. And then I'm going to take my mini glue dots and I'm going to put one on each end, right on the very end. So I'm just going to press them down and then peel them off. And I'm going to try and make sure it doesn't get stuck to anything before it sticks where I want it to. Okay. But anytime you put ribbon on a card, it's really best if you use mini glue dots. They really help that ribbon stick. Okay, so we're going to wrap it around, and where that little glue dot was is just going to stick on the back. On both sides. Okay, and then we can kind of scoot it a little bit if it's not even. Okay, next, we're going to take our ribbon and we're just going to tie a little piece around in a knot. Now, if you prefer a bow, you are welcome to make a bow. But I just wanted a little knot. Okay, and then I'm going to trim the ends like that. And I think they're not quite even. Hold on. I'm going to trim this one just a little bit more. There, that's better. Something in my mind will not let those little ends be uneven. Hi, Wendy. Thank you for joining me tonight. Okay, so here is our layer. So now what we're going to do is turn it over and put our liquid glue on. So we're going to go a thin line around the edge. We're going to leave a little spot for our finger and then a squiggle in the middle. Then we can pick it up by that little spot we left and center it on the front of our card. And because we used our liquid glue, if it's not quite even, we have just a few seconds where we could scoot it. But this one seemed to fall into place pretty well. And then we can take our little stamped image and turn that over. And we can put our Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. Just like this. And I try to keep them a little farther towards the middle instead of right on the edge. That way, it kind of holds up the middle a little bit. And if it's a smaller piece, then I don't have to use a fifth one there in the center. I know that seems silly to save just one, but if you're making a lot of cards, then you're saving a lot of dimensionals. Okay, and then we are gonna put our piece right on the front. And that's another trick I'll tell you real quick is before you push those dimensionals down, make sure that you've got your edges lined up, because you can, if you haven't pressed them down hard, you can sometimes peel them up a little bit and scoot that piece a little. If the crookedness bothers you, that's a good hint. Okay, and tonight we are going to use the iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. These are really sparkly, and I feel like their color changes a little bit depending on what you put them on. So when we put them on this, I feel like it picks up some of the Lost Lagoon. And with the next card, I think you'll see that it picks up more of the petal pink. All right, and there is our first card. These are really quick, cute cards that we're making tonight. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and you could add some Wink of Stella to these flowers. Let's do that too, real quick. Because who doesn't need a little extra sparkle? I don't know, but I know I do. Let's add a little Wink of Stella to our flowers. And I have checked recently, and the Wink of Stella glitter brush is back in stock. So if you had a problem like I did, where my dog ate my Wink of Stella brush, you can now get a replacement for that. Okay, I think maybe you'll be able to see that sparkle just a little bit. It's not bright, but you can definitely tell it's there. That is our first card for tonight. Okay, I'm gonna set that one off to the side. And here is the next card. So this is kind of a fun fold card. And I actually glued this part down, but I was thinking if you wanted to make this a gift holder card, you could easily do that. If you only put your glue at the bottom and the top, then you could tuck something inside there. So maybe I'll try that the next time I make this card. But for now, we're going to copy this card exactly. Well, I say exactly, but the last one wasn't exactly. So you know that it might not be. It's almost never exactly the same. All right, so now we have petal pink, and this is 8.5 by 5.5. And we are gonna score it at, well, I put too many things on the side of my table. I have to push them out of the way. 1.25. I'm glad you can only see part of the table because it really, it could use a little TLC right now. My poor table is looking very cluttered, kind of like the rest of my house currently. All right, so we're gonna score here at 1.25. And then we're gonna score again at 4.25. Okay, and we're gonna fold our card on both of those lines this way. And I'm gonna get my bone folder and press that down because I want it to be nice and flat. And I have noticed too that when I use my bone folder, I try really hard to use it on the back side of the card because every once in a while I press too hard and get a little line on there. And so I try to keep that on the back instead of on the front. So if you're like me and you're a little heavy-handed, you have to try and use the back. I know that my dog is so bad. She's bad, bad, bad. She's always, well, I guess she's not really bad. She's just always trying to get my attention. And so that's, I'm sure, why she steals my things and eats them. All right, so I added my liquid glue along this side here. That's the 1.25 fold. And then I'm just gonna fold that in. This is a good card, not for teeny tiny scraps, but if you have some smaller 1-inch scraps, I'm having a hard time with my words, evidently. And then it's just gonna fold like this. So this is what the base of the card will look like. All right, and then I have some 1-inch strips right here. Actually, this one is 1 inch, but this one is not. So I'm gonna cut that down to 1 inch. And then I'm gonna turn it sideways and cut it at 5.25. All right, and this one I know is already 1 inch because I measured it ahead of time. We're gonna cut that one at 5.25. Okay, and now I do want you to learn from my mistake from earlier. So when we turn this over, we're gonna glue it, but when we glue it down, we're gonna hold this front down so that we can line it up in the center. I didn't do that on my first card, and it's slightly off center, and it bothers me. To be honest with you, I almost threw it out. So if you're like me and you want things to be in the center, then sometimes you have to think ahead a little bit. Okay, I didn't leave very much space for my finger this time. I didn't follow my own rule. Okay, so we're gonna hold our card closed and we're gonna line that up in the center. And remember, we can scoot it a little bit because we used our liquid glue. And I know there are people who do not like liquid glue. If you are one of those people, you do not have to use it. Just know that if you're lining something up, you kind of have to get it right the first time. There's not, at least I feel like there's not as much wiggle room with the Stampin' Seal as there is with the liquid glue. Okay, so there's our first one. And then we're gonna turn this one over and put our liquid glue on here. Now, hopefully I'm gonna learn from my mistake and leave a little more room for my finger this time. I'm gonna do my thin line around the edge and my squiggle down the middle, but I'm leaving a little space this time so that hopefully my fingers don't get all sticky. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna line this up along the edge of the top piece. So and we're gonna make sure that's lined up across here so it looks nice and tidy, and then along the edge. So there's about the same amount of space between the two. Okay, so there is our card base. Now there's a lot of different things you could do with this. You could fill up this space, but for today, we're doing something really simple. So I'm gonna set that aside. I'm gonna grab my piece of basic white and we're gonna stamp a little truck. So this time, we're gonna use our Tuxedo Black Memento and we're gonna use Lemon Lolly. So I'm gonna open this one up and tap in here, and my memento is getting a little dry, so you'll notice I'll have to tap like kind of a lot to get my stamp nice and shiny. With the memento, you can kind of press a little bit into it. With all the other inks, you don't really want to do that because their foam pads are much softer than this, and if you press in, you're gonna have ink everywhere. Okay, so now we're gonna stamp our little truck just like that. And I'm gonna clean that off right away. Okay, we're gonna stamp our little tires. And if you're stamping those, the way that I like to line this one up is I line up those little centers of the tires. I feel like it's easier to see those than where the wheels go. So if you line up those little center circles, it comes out pretty close. Okay, and then we're gonna close that one up for a minute. And we're gonna switch to the Lemon Lolly to stamp the inside of our truck this time. Just like our kids. You are right. I just saw that. They are just like them. Pets and kids have a lot of similarities for sure. Okay, so we're gonna line that up and stamp our cute little yellow truck. Lemon Lolly. All right, and then I have another little piece of scrap paper over here. I'm gonna stamp my last thing now so that I can do all my fussy cutting at once. So this time I'm going to use this sentiment, and I love this. This is one of my favorite things. Every day is a fresh start. So I feel like that's so important. And it's not even just every day, but every minute. Every minute we get to choose what's next. And I just think that's so awesome. You don't have to wait for a new week, a new month, whatever new thing you want to start, you can start from right where you are. And I love that. So I can tell you that I probably will be sending out a lot of little fresh start cards because I think it's an important thing to remember. Oh yeah, and cats. I'm sure cats are the same way. I never had cats growing up except for barn cats. And so they did want a little bit of attention, but not too much. They were kind of funny about attention. So now we're going to fussy cut our sentiment first. You could fussy cut your truck first if you wanted to. Or if you did get the truck punch, you can punch your truck out. All right. So here we go, fussing our little fussy cutting our sentiment. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It's more fun when I'm doing a video and there's comments. When it's just me, I get kind of lonely. Not that I won't talk to myself. I will. However, it really is nice to have someone talking to me. All right, and then we're going to fussy cut our little yellow truck. I really like this yellow. It's nice and bright and sunshiny. I feel like I need kind of a lot of that going into the winter because I know it's going to be kind of gray. I don't know if you're one of those people who get the wintertime blues or not, but I do sometimes. So I need things that are bright and cheery, kind of keep me positive, in a positive mood. So as you can see, the fussy cutting is definitely the part that takes the longest for these cards here tonight. And if you missed the beginning of the video, I did mention that I am behind in sending out my tutorials and getting the videos posted to YouTube. So I should be able to get that done this week by Wednesday. Wednesday is one of my kind of work all day days. All right, so here's our little truck and here's our little sentiment. Next, we are going to punch out a vellum circle, and I just have a 2-inch punch here. So here is our little circle, and we're ready to put our cards together. Well, I guess to finish putting our cards together. So with my vellum circle, I'm going to put one little glue dot right in the center. And I'm just going to stick that on my card. I don't feel like it needs a whole lot, so that's why I did it that way. I'm going to turn my truck over and pop some mini dimensionals on there. There's 3 of those. I do not mind at all if you want to be a chatty Cathy. Thank you, Wendy. Okay, so we're going to put our little truck on there. And we need a Stampin' Dimensional for our sentiment. Just going to stick that right in the center because it's kind of small, so it should cover the whole thing. And now I'm going to put that right by my truck. I kind of like to overlap them a little bit, not too much. But I think they look kind of cute. Oh no, it's crooked. Okay, hold on. I'm peeling very carefully. Whew. Oh, sorry, there was a loud noise upstairs and it scared me a little bit. I love this truck set. I'm so excited. And I still have my camper set from a couple catalogs ago, and I saw somebody use them together, and it was the cutest. So I have to dig that set out. I need to set myself up so that all my sets are within reach. And I don't know if that's even possible because I have quite a few, but I'd like to be able to use whatever whenever I'm ready. Okay, now we're adding our iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. So see how this time they look more, they pick up more of that petal pink. And the last time, let's see, where did I put our other card? They picked up more of the Lost Lagoon. So here is our second card. And here's the first one. So tonight we made two cute little truck cards. If you want to get the class, the class includes the cardstock, paper, this punch circle, this here. You'd have to have your own truck set, and I will include the basic bite and your envelopes. So if you want to get that kit, you just have to place an order, a $35 order, using the host code that's in the description. I hope that you enjoyed the cards tonight. It looks like you guys like them, and I'm so glad. I will see you next Sunday, and I will get the tutorial for these up in the email by Wednesday. So if you're not signed up for my email, make sure you do that if you want to get the tutorial. I will see you next week. Happy stamping. Hi, Kathy. I just saw you pop in there. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Happy stamping.